Welcome to BrotoGP. Welcome to the second episode of R&D Writing Analysis, i.e. the segment where Rob does the analysis and Dennis does the writing. So, if you didn't watch Volume 1, essentially, I am going to help Dennis out with his writing. He described me as a demigod when it comes to my writing because I do compete in pro motorcycle races. And I'm going to specifically try and help out Dennis, who is just an amateur track day rider with his writing. So in the last segment...
Just a mere humble mortal.
It's racers like Josh Herrin and Kyle Wyman and all the other pros in Moto America that get the full God title, and it's pretty obvious from my results that I'm not at their level yet, but we'll get there eventually. But so in the first episode, we looked at a few of Dennis's laps. Just GoPro footage. We didn't do that much analysis on it. We were kind of just trying to intro, his writing and what he's trying to get out of this. Actually, Dennis, can you do me a favor and tell me what the two things that you're kind of fearful or need to work on with track day writing is?
The current fundamental fears I have are coming out of a corner after I apex, getting on the throttle immediately like I should be. I'm too scared. I don't mind the sliding. It's more like I'm not really quite sure I can control it enough that I don't high side. And then the other one is, despite having done this for a long time, I have a fundamental fear of like leaning the bike over because I'm afraid of leaning too much and just obviously just hitting the deck.
Yeah, so leaning over might actually be something that we're going to be able to see today. And because we're going to be looking at data, so I actually do have your lean angle up on the data, and we'll get there shortly.
What?
Yeah.
Solo2 records that or has that information?
Well, so the data that we have for lean angle is your like effective lean angle. So technically, if you were to hang off more, it would increase the lean angle in the data. Because I've just pulled up the simple one for now. But the Solo2 does have more, and we could look at the lean angle of the motorcycle itself.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I haven't played around with Race Studio. I mean, I've only touched it to send you the data, but I had no idea it even had that information.
It's well, that's why we're going over this. So I don't know if we're gonna get that deep into the data this time.
Take it down because there's so much information about my writing that I had no idea. I'm so conscious right now. Like, damn, I'm blushing.
All right, let's do it. So I'm going to pull up Race Studio Analysis on screen. So just to recap, Dennis has purchased the AiM Solo2 lap timer. It's a GPS lap timer. It contains accelerometers and a gyroscope. It records a ton of information.
Actually, right here.
It's right there. So a lot of people buy this and they just use it to record lap times because unlike lap timers from 5-10 years ago where you had to set up a beacon on the track, the GPS lap timer doesn't need a beacon. It records the GPS information and it recognizes when you get back to where you started and it tells you your lap time. So it's great, but there's way more stuff that you can do with this. It's very powerful for doing actual analysis on your laps and becoming a faster, safer rider. Kyle Wyman gave me props for saying that, right? He loves the term faster, safer, as do a lot of coaches. But all right. Okay, so I've got Race Studio pulled up here on my other computer. Where did my mouse go? There it is. So these top 5 tests. So when you import stuff into Race Studio, when you actually download it from the lap timer, it kind of separates everything into tests. And these tests are all different sessions from Dennis. So we're actually going to open up the one that contains his new PR. So his new PR, we're actually analyzing. We're going to be analyzing the track Thunder Hill in Northern California. His new PR is a 201.242. So that's this lap right here. I'm just going to double click this, and it's going to open up. It's going to open up a list of the lap times. Sometimes it does this, sometimes it doesn't. But what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to the top, and we're going to click on this little graph looking one, like the one on the left. And this is going to show us a graph. So this is, yeah, so there's actually 2 channels here.
Did you change the colors yourself? Because it doesn't look like that on my Race Studio.
Yes, I pretty much always change the colors. So
it's more readable.
It's yeah. If you want to, when you first open up the app, most likely it shows everything with a white background. If you want to change that, you can right click, go to plot settings, and then click set default black based colors. Like if we do the white colors, it looks like this, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with the green and like light blue lines that it defaults with.
Yeah, it burns your eyes out. So that's why, I mean, I write software for a living, so I like the black screen. I can look at the monitor for 10 hours a day when I have it on black. But all right, we're actually all the measures, all the different channels are over here on the left, and these are actually everything that most of these are everything that the AiM Solo2 provides. So anything that's labeled GPS, and then all this stuff down here at the bottom that says inline, acceleration, lateral, pitch, roll, vertical, yaw, those are all from the Solo. The ones after speed, like these braking, accel, corner, total, trail braking, and the one that says filter and lean angle, those are all me. But we'll talk about those a little bit later. Okay, so this one right here, if you notice, I unclicked one of them on the left, and it changed it to only show the one that was still there. Yeah. So this
what are we looking at right now, though?
This is GPS speed. So the GPS in the data logger records your speed as you're going around the track. This by far is the easiest one to analyze and is probably the most important. One thing that you can do with these graphs is there's this checkbox up here on the top left called per lap color, and it's really important to do per lap color when you're comparing multiple graphs, and we're going to get into that shortly. So I like to leave that on, and then you can click this little box and you can change the color all you want of the line. So nice. It's super helpful to make it whatever color you want, and when you're comparing two different laps, really important to be able to tell them apart. But all right, so let's give you a little tour of the software. We already did how to select laps. Here's another way to select laps. Like you can be here in the lap manager, and you can just double click them. I gotta slow down a little bit because it takes a second for the video to come up. But if you're actually already in the graph, you can come over here into the measures portion, and you can click laps at the top left, and you can actually check another one of these boxes. Yeah. So we're gonna check two of them. So now we have two. Unfortunately, they're the same color. So we gotta. What color do you want to make your slower lap?
Yellow.
No, it's too close to green. We're gonna make it blue.
What about orange?
It's blue already. Sorry, you're too late.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So right now, this is showing two laps, and it's actually showing them based on time. So the slower lap is the blue one, and obviously it's you can see that over the lap it starts to lag behind. So behind is to the right on the graph. The speed is in the y-axis, right? We can change that. We can actually change the graph to not have time on the x-axis, but we can have it distance. So that's this little button right up here. And if I click this, now the graphs kind of align. And the cool thing is we get this extra graph down here at the bottom. So this one, that's the delta graph. We're going to be discussing that. Exactly. So that's the difference between the two laps. That one is where the magic is, especially for someone that's first trying to analyze their data. That's the magic.
Yeah.
But before I get to that, let's go over a few other things. The other thing that this software can do, of course, is it can show you a track map. So I can come up here to map, and I can pull up the map manager. And I have a couple of tracks in here already that I've done before. I've been to Auto Club Buttonwell and Laguna. Dennis hasn't, and he's been to the Thunder Hill. And this is actually the map that is currently loaded for this test. So if you don't have one in there for Thunder Hill, you can actually go to the same map menu, and you can just click New, and it'll kind of create the map for you. So one thing that it does, and this is kind of important, is a lot of times the corners won't actually match the corners that you know. So
Mm-hmm.
you can see on this map, like it kind of ignored turn 5A because you see, oh, so sorry, on this software, green is a straightaway and then blue and red are corners. So
Okay.
it got turn 1, it got turn 2, it got 3 and 4, but it missed 5A, and then it did 5, and it's 6, but then it
Okay.
missed 7, and then it missed, what is this, 13 down here, and then it combined 14 and 15. So that's actually all editable. You have to use these buttons down here that are
Well, would
divide.
that be because of my lines though, right?
No, it's just the software like trying to make something for you. Yeah, the
I see.
line turn 2 looks a lot like 14, 15. It was just Thunder Hill that decided that they wanted to subdivide 14 and 15 instead of having it be two or one corner. They made it two corners. But I find it weird that it missed 7 or whatever this corner is. But you can, if you click on it, you hit divide, and then you can change this. So that's currently set to corner 1. If I click this, it goes corner 2. Then I can turn it into a straightaway. I hit divide again, and then now that's corner 1. I can make it corner 2. I can make it a straightaway, but so that now that makes sense, right? So we added turn 7.
Yeah.
I think that's 7.
Yeah.
We could do the same thing with 5. We could do the same thing with 13. The nice thing is I've already done this, so I'm going to hit cancel. And I'm going to go back to, I'm just going to show the track map now. And here's the track map. So this actually matches, this matches Thunder Hill.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Let's make it a little smaller. We'll pull it over here, kind of get it out of the way. I guess it'd be nice to have the corners on there, but I think it's got to be too big. But yeah, so there's our track map. And the one cool thing to notice is all these numbers and all this, the track layout here is now laid out at the top of our screen above the graphs.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so if you don't have these colors at the top with the corner numbers, it's because you don't have the track configured. So all you gotta do is go up to the file menu, go up to map, and hit new, and then kind of maybe edit it. Every single track that I've been to, I've had to edit it slightly, but usually it's pretty close. But yeah, so that's really helpful for getting those corners up there, and it kind of reminds you where you are. And the other thing is too, like when you're clicking on this part of the graph, there's a cursor that moves around on the map, and it shows you where you are, right? So that can be helpful. I'm gonna get rid of this map for now. Sorry, Dennis, did you have a question there?
No, I was gonna say it just makes it easier to reference the map with the graph.
Exactly. There are other maps in here too. Which one? Where did it go? Where did it go? It's not this one. No, we don't want that one. It's not this one. Screwing it up. All right, we'll leave that one for later. It's not that one. Nope.
That looks like an Excel spreadsheet.
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
Whoa.
ignore all those other screens. There, they're flashing into place.
Jesus.
Yeah, this is a lot of data. I apologize for how much data is on here. I'm going to change it, and I'm going to remove it. Essentially, it was showing data from the accelerometers. So now it's showing data only from your speed. So you can see the colors over here to the left.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So red is faster than yellow, green is a little slower, and blue is the slowest. So you can actually see all your speeds on track. Unfortunately, when I'm looking at data, especially when comparing two laps like this, it's just too much information. Yeah. It's cool to look at, but I don't spend a lot of time here. So we're gonna just close this one down, and we're gonna go back to our graph. Oh yeah, you guys can't see the little buttons at the top. Oh, there's something wrong with the software. Off, it's actually not ending up on the recording either. It's terrible.
Oh, okay.
Yep. All right. I apologize, everyone. Essentially, I was messing with the menu buttons at the top, bringing up those different sections. So you'll find them. They look like little graphs and other little things. Yeah, I'll try and fix that for next time. But all right.
Yeah, I mean, if you just tell them what it's labeled, when you hover over it, it tells you what it's called. I'm sure that's fine.
Yeah. So the one that we're seeing right now is plot measures in a graph. This is the measures graph. The one that we'll be using later is the split report, and then the track map that had the data on it was the what was it called? It's called the track report. But this one right here is most important. So right now we have 2 laps pulled up. It's coordinated by distance. The slowest lap is a 2:03.5, and the faster lap is a 2:01.2. So the things to notice here are differences.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So the peaks and the dips denote what?
Yeah. So that's where we're gonna get. So every time the graph goes down, that's you braking, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
so the dip, like the bottom right here in the middle of turn 1, is the slowest point of turn 1. And you would hope that that is the apex or close to the apex. Like apex is a really weird term. Some people define it as the closest to the inside curve that you get. But in some corners, that's not true. Like if you have you can have a double apex corner that you turn into a single apex corner because you V it out, and then your apex is no longer close to the curb.
The curbings, yeah. It's like in between the two of them. Yeah.
Exactly. Sometimes you have to apex later, earlier. It all changes. But one important thing to talk about especially when you're looking at data, is not the apex, but the slowest point of the corner. So that's what that's what the cursor is over right now. This is the slowest point of the corner. So let's look at. We can already compare these 2 laps. Like I'll kind of get it to hover over the actual slow points. If I look over here on the top right, it tells me the actual readings. It does over on the top left as well. But look, so between your faster lap, which is the green one, and your slower lap, there's a 1.1 mile per hour difference.
But it's remarkable to me that in between turn 1 and 2, there's a big difference in speed that I picked up.
Yeah, exactly. So after you get to the slowest point of the corner, the next thing that happens, right, is you're going to accelerate. And as you accelerate out of the corner, the graph is going to go up. And if you notice, like here, we can zoom in a little bit. So let's press these zoom in keys and then kind of scroll back over to turn 1.
Yeah.
This is Windows running on a Mac, so it doesn't scroll as well as I'd want it to. But so notice between your slow lap and your fast lap, there's no time at which you're going the same speed between turn 1 and braking for turn 2, right? And look what this difference graph shows down here at the bottom. So remember, the blue line is slower, and up is in the difference graph is positive time. So as the blue line gets farther above the green line, which is down here at the bottom, that just means the blue line is getting further and further behind. It's slower and slower. Right. So already, like all the way to the braking point for turn 2, or the roll-off point, that little difference in those 2 lines, you've lost 0.142 seconds. So it's over here on the right side.
Like a full tenth at least.
Yeah, a tenth and a half. Like it's so when I'm at the racetrack.
Also, it seems like I hit my slowest point sooner on my slower lap than my faster lap.
It's like we can look down here at the distance, and it seems to be like maybe
I meant into like in between turns. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Never mind.
Oh, correctly. You mean your fastest point. Okay, so this is right. Yeah. So this is now a very important distinction, and you're going to see the consequences of it very, very soon. So for this is the braking zone for turn 2, right? To go into turn 2, we have to slow down a little bit. You actually brake on your slow lap. You brake way earlier than you do than for the faster lap. So if we look at the distance, right? So if we come down here, we see that's 1500 is right there. So that's 1450. So call it 1460 feet. And then this one is 1500, 1550, 1530. So what did I say? 1460 to 1530. So you break 70 feet later on your faster lap. 70 feet. So in the last episode, you specifically told us that you're not consistent lap to lap, and here's one prime example of inconsistency. 70 feet is huge.
Thanks.
If you varied by 20 feet, that's what she said.
That's almost 11 of me.
Yeah, exactly. That's you waited like a full second.
11 Dennis's to break.
So in that braking zone, we can actually see the consequences in the speed delta. So you brake harder when you brake later, right? You probably kind of you panicked a little bit, and you can see that in the slope of the line. So the slower lap, the slope is very gradual, right? It's kind of it's more horizontal, and in the faster lap, it's more vertical. So you brake slower, but at the point where you end up going the same exact speed, braking later like that gained you another 2.5 tenths, so 4 tenths up total. So we
very
can see
Lorenzo-esque.
Yeah, well, I mean, Lorenzo probably would have braked sooner and then just not braked nearly as much. That's what we would have done. This is your faster lap was more of the Rossi or the Dovizioso, like brake as late as possible and brake really hard.
Yeah.
Now, so here's one thing, and we're already running out of time. We've already hit 20 minutes. We haven't even gotten to turn 2. You over braked when you braked later.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one thing that even I struggle with a lot of times. When people try and push the braking marker, they often you're braking harder, so you kind of panic and you freeze up. You get stiff on the arms. You pull that lever really hard, and you either forget or you just don't turn in. You don't carry the roll speed. You don't carry the pace. Turn 2 is a very, very long corner. You can run it in there super deep. It's wide. There's tons of track. Like it's relatively flat. But so your minimum speed through turn 2 was actually lower on your faster lap. And look what happens to the delta, right? This is the blue lap gaining time. So it pulled time back. And it actually look, so we're at 0.4 right there. And we make it all the way back to 0.2. So that little section right there where you slowed down too much for turn 2, like we're talking 300 feet, was worth 0.2 of a second.
Okay.
It's significant.
It is, because that's more than what I gained braking for turn 1 or slowing for turn 1.
It is. Yeah, actually. That's more than what you gained for the turn 1 apex, and it actually matches kind of what you gained by braking later, right? So because you went from, it's actually a little tiny bit less than what you gained by braking later. So so that's one difficult thing about trying to go faster by braking later is you often sacrifice the roll speed. You sacrifice the corner speed and you go slower through the corner. I like to.
Well, that's why they say go fast slowly, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think you're at the point, Dennis, in your writing where you should continue to brake at the same point. You should just brake less. So because one thing that I noticed when I was kind of at that point in my writing, and I still am for some corners, like there are certain corners where I'm phenomenal at them, or in like compared to other corners, and I can brake hard and I can brake late and I can still carry the corner speed. But other corners where I struggle, I make sure to brake at the same marker, and then I just let the brake out. I don't brake as hard. I let the brake out a little sooner. And the reason why I like it is because then you're not panicked, right? Like when you're braking hard, you're panicked and you're freaked out because you're having to put more weight on the bars than you want to, right? The bike is pitched forward.
The harder you brake, right? Like you were about to say, the bike pitches forward, which means the rear goes lighter. It actually moves the bike more. So I see what you mean.
Yeah. So if you brake at the same point and you just brake lighter, then you can be more comfortable and you can try and carry that roll speed. At some point, you're going to maximize roll speed and you need to push the braking marker, but you're not there yet.
Right. Okay.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we already know here, right? Like from
Yeah.
turn 1 that you could have went faster, like, you know, on your slow lap. Obviously, you can go faster still at the apex. And same thing with turn 2. On your fast lap, you went too slow. But all right, we hit 25 minutes there, so I think we're gonna cut this one off.
2 corners, 25 minutes. That's gonna be my slowest lap ever on Thunderhill.
I think I warned Dennis before we started recording this one that I spent 3 hours one time with one lap helping out a friend.
Yeah, you did. Fair warning. But that's only because he's much slower than me. But then,
oh, except he was in the Moto America Twins race
Fabian.
in Utah. I don't know if Fabian is slower. No, I'm pretty sure Fabian's a little bit faster than you. I don't know, Dennis. You shouldn't have said that.
Okay.
All right. We're going to cut this one off. We will be recording another one shortly. I might even record it right now. And but we're going to continue with this lap. I promise to not just keep going over the same exact lap. There are more things that I want to show you as well, specifically with the software.
I think this is a great primer for the kind of information that you can get from this, from the Solo2. You know, it's a great example of what you could see, what you could learn just by looking at the data.
Exactly. And all this stuff is built in. I haven't done anything fancy yet. We're going to get to the fancy stuff soon. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, please. Tell all your friends, and I hope you gained something from this. And you will catch us shortly. Peace.